Hey guys, Schnickerman here, back with another video. Today we're going to do the entire Digimon video game history. The Digimon video game franchise has changed over the years, but I think that they're still putting out some spectacular games, and I want to highlight all the differences in the series over the years and show you some hidden gems along the way. This video is going to cover the original Digivice, then go into Digimon World 1, and go all the way through the North American releases. It was difficult to find the release date of the original Digital Monster Virtual Pet. Recently I stumbled upon this press release from Bandai about Digimon posted on July 9th, 1998. You can see that following the tremendous success of Tamagotchi, Bandai introduced the Digital Monster, and it was shown off and given out at Toys R Us in Herald Square in New York City on December 5th, 1997, and the national release was February 10th, 1998. According to Bandai, the Digital Monster was targeted at boys 8 years old and up, and it's a interactive handheld virtual digital monster that is housed in a rectangular shaped cage and hangs on a keychain. The press release also says that the Digital Monsters retailed for approximately $15 USD, came in 4 colors: brown, gray, blue, and neon green, and they're packaged similar to Tamagotchi toys and the look of the packaging. The Digimon Virtual Pet sold over 14 million units in its first year. At the time, electronic toy pets were becoming a huge phenomenon. Companies like Tiger Electronics, Bandai, Mattel, and other toy companies were all producing these virtual pets to capitalize off the huge fad that was happening, so they were producing them just as fast as they could sell them. In each one of these Digimon devices, there's a small pixelated creature on an LCD screen that you must feed, train, clean up after it. You can even battle with people who also have a virtual pet. In Japan, these type of virtual pets have been a mainstay ever since they were first introduced. However, in North America, the virtual pet fad only lasted a few years and started to fall off. There were devices that were later released that coincided with the Digimon anime, but they were called Digivices and not Digimon Virtual Pets. It wasn't until 2019 that Bandai decided to re-release the original Digimon Virtual Pets. Due to the wide success of Digital Monsters, Bandai teamed up with 2A Animation in order to release an animated series based off the virtual pets. On March 7th, 1999, Digimon Adventure aired in North America, and 1 year later, on May 23rd, 2000, first Digimon video game was released.
You run away again, buddy, and you're totally grounded.
80 renegade Digimon. They run away, and you have to get them back. The Digimon World video game. Rated T. New from Bandai.
This game aimed to capitalize on the success of the Digital Monster Pets and the Digimon anime that was airing at this time. Digimon World is a virtual pet simulator that was based off the original Digivice. You start with an infant Digimon that you must train and Digivolve. However, you need to feed it, let it go to the bathroom when it has to poop. You need to raise its stats in order to beat different wild Digimon. The game revolves around a young boy who's later called Mameo, but he's an unnamed boy in the first game. He's drawn into the digital world through his V-Pet device, which is similar to the Digivice. Gigi-Mom greets him and tells him there's great problems going on in the digital world. Many Digimon have left File City and have become wild, and he needs to bring them back either by their own choice or by force by defeating them. So Mameo must train his Digimon and work his way up, recruit as many Digimon in the city as he possibly can, and then defeat the evil machine Draymon and save the digital world. This game is a bit of a hidden gem on the PlayStation 1 in my opinion, however it's not without its flaws. The game can be really frustrating and there's a lot of RNG in this. When your Digimon dies, you have 3 lives. When those lives are exhausted, your Digimon's gone, you're given a new egg and you have to start from scratch, training your Digimon all over again. So this type of gameplay is not very good to the new user, so a lot of people are turned off by this. The good news is when you recruit Digimon to the city, even if you have to start with the new Digimon, those Digimon that were recruited to the city will stay the same. same. Some of them open item shops, some of them open arenas, some of them are just there to talk to you. They'll all stay. That progress will remain the same. The next thing we should talk about is the combat of the game. So you have your Digimon, which you can give general commands like to attack, flee, defend. However, the Digimon will act on its own. However, you are able to support them with different chips that can increase their speed and different stats, can recover their health or MP. So you have some control over the Digimon. And as you level up your Digimon, you'll get more control of them. But this game has a lot of replayability. In the beginning of the game, you can only start with Agumon or Gabumon, and Digimon has a very unique evolution tree. So one Digimon could have 3 to 4 to 5 different branches that they can digivolve into based off your stats and the way that you take care of your Digimon. This actually adds a lot of replayability because pretty much every time you play the game, you'll get different Digimon, and certain Digimon may be more suited for certain activities over others. I think that this is a really interesting game. It has been elaborated on in future Digimon games, which we'll get to. However, I think it really holds the test of time. This style of gameplay is fairly unique, and I think it adds a really interesting challenge to gamers. So if you like simulation type games or action games, you might want to give this game a try. Digimon World 2 was released on May 19th, 2001. Unlike the first game in the series, Digimon World 2 is actually a dungeon crawler RPG compared to the Digimon trainer simulation of Digimon World 1. What's interesting about this game is that you start out the game and you can choose between one of 3 different teams, and based off the team you select, your starter Digimon will be different. And what's interesting about this is if you join the team that's associated with Vaccine Digimon, in the very beginning of the game, you will only really be able to obtain other Vaccine Digimon. Later in the game, you can acquire specific items that will allow you to get Digimon that are outside of your type. So in Digimon World 2, you can have a team of up to 3 Digimon, so when you run into an enemy, it basically turns into a 3-on-3 battle. Your Digimon can digivolve, of course, and have multiple different attacks that you can utilize, and it's just standard Japanese turn-based combat. However, the dungeon crawler aspect comes into play because you have a vehicle which is called a Digibeetle that allows you to travel through dungeons. And it's in the dungeons where you run into Digimon, and there are different traps and things that you have to be on the lookout for. A big part of the game is upgrading your Digibeetle, which is your vehicle, giving it weapon upgrades, ways to find traps, and give it more health. And the vehicle is also limited in the amount of moves that it can make in a dungeon. So these are all things that throughout the process you'll upgrade. Although this game is much different than the first game in the series, I actually am really enjoying the second game. Dungeon crawler RPGs are definitely not for everybody. They are very grindy, and there's a lot of leveling that you have to do and replaying dungeons over and over again, maybe to get specific Digimon that you want, etc. But overall, I think it's a really solid game. So I would recommend a game like this to fans of Digimon, of course, people that like turn-based RPGs. Dungeon crawlers leave a little bit more up to the imagination. You're just moving through a generic dungeon with different things going on. The Digimon may be the only thing that you're really running into. So keep that in mind if you ever pick this game up. It has become a little bit more sought after recently, so it may set you back a little bit more. But I assure you, if you like turn-based RPGs with a little bit of a twist, you'll definitely enjoy Digimon World 2. And by the way, I just opened up a marketplace called Digital Monster Market that you can go and buy all different kinds of Digimon merchandise, whether that's action figures, trading cards, comics, etc. If you like Digimon, you should definitely check it out. The next Digimon game to be released in North America was Digimon Digital Card Battle, which was released on June 28th, 2001. Digimon Digital Card Battle was released in order to capitalize off the success of the first 2 Digimon anime series, as well as the first 2 Digimon World games. However, this game is exclusively a card game. It's similar to the actual physically released Digicard Battle game, which was released by Bandai. However, there are some differences.
Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon and go to battle. Use monster, then Digiball, power up. Now drop. I'm ultimate. I'm champion. I'm mega. The way.
The all-new Digimon
Tamagotchi battle card game from Bandai.
This game is actually a really interesting card game, very similar to other card games of the PS1 era, such as Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. You start with a starter deck, you can challenge different opponents. If you win, you get cards from them, you build your deck even bigger. Each card has different element. There's water, dark, fire, plant, etc. You need to digivolve your Digimon within its type. So if it's a water type, you have to digivolve a rookie water to a champion water to ultimate water. There are also support items which can buff your attack. Each card has 3 separate attacks for X, circle, and triangle. They all vary in the amount of damage that they do, and some can even have special effects such as counters or negating your opponent's utility cards. The other really cool thing about this game is that you start with 4 cards in your hand and you're allowed to mulligan at any point for 4 brand new cards. However, if you do so, you have less cards in your deck, and eventually when you run out of cards, you might lose the game because of this. So you have to be tactical with this. As I mentioned, the utility cards are useful. They can buff your attack, lower your opponent's attack to 0, etc. And if you don't have a utility card, you can also take the top card of your deck and put it face down, and then when combat happens, it flips it over, and if the card has an effect, you get it. If not, just gets discarded. Another interesting thing is that a lot of the Digimon cards also have an effect, so they can also be used in combat as well as just using to digivolve. So it means that you have pretty much no dead cards that will stay in your hand. Another mechanic is each Digimon card has a number associated with it, which is called DP, which is Digivolve points. So in order to evolve your Digimon, you have to have a certain number of Digivolve points. There's a specific part of the card game in the beginning where you can sacrifice those Digimon to get DP, Digivolve, once you get to the Digivolve phase. Overall, I was really happy with this game. It really impressed me. I'd say this game is good for fans of Digimon, especially who like card games. Just give it a shot. It's not too expensive and it's pretty fun and well available. On February 24th, 2002, Digimon Rumble Arena released on the PlayStation 1.
トラップあり、アイテムあり、ワープ進化あり、最強のテイマーを目指せ、デジモンテイマーズバトルエボリューション。
Digimon Rumble Arena was a multiplayer brawler that was released to kind of capitalize on the Super Smash Bros. Style game. Digimon Rumble Arena has 10 different Digimon that you can play as, each one with one evolution. You can play as either Agumon, Gabumon, Patamon, Gatomon, Vmon, Wormmon, Guilmon, Carriermon,
and Renamon.
When you attack in Digimon Rumble Arena, you build up a bar, and once you have the bar, you can then digivolve into one of your Digimon's evolutions, which there's only one in the game for each Digimon, and then you'll have an additional 2 types of attacks that are much stronger. The single player of this game is basically arcade, where you're posed with different Digimon and you need to fight your way through the gauntlet all the way up to the secret final boss. Although there are 10 Digimon to choose, there isn't too much replayability here. Every time you play through the story mode, it's going to be pretty much the same. You just have different Digimons with different attacks. There aren't any kind of collectibles that are overarching the story or anything like that. But overall, this game is good for fans of Digimon and people that like Super Smash Bros. Type brawlers. It's fun to play with friends. However, it is lacking a little bit in the visual department, content-wise, and the music is kind of so-so. But if that sounds interesting to you, you can check it out. Now, it wasn't long after Digimon Rumble Arena that Digimon World 3 hit the scene. Digimon World 3 came out on June 5th, 2002.
They look like us. They dress like us. They sound like us. In Digimon World 3, you must figure out who's a friend and who's an enemy fast. Otherwise, the hackers of the AOA will trap you and your Digimon in the digital world. Forever. Digimon World 3, rated E for everyone, from Bandai. PlayStation.
All 3 Digimon World games came out within a year plus or minus 2 months of each other. So in the 3rd year, we got the 3rd Digimon World game. And what was interesting is, again, the series took a bit of a turn from its previous entries. So the first game was a simulator, second game was a Japanese dungeon crawler. The third one is more on the terms of a classic JRPG. It has a bit of a Pokemon twist, which I'll explain. It's not identical, but I'm going to show you some similarities. You'll notice the first thing is that the graphics look amazing. It's a nice bit style, really vivid colors. The sprites all look really nice. The music is solid. You run around this nice colorful town, and then you realize that you have to set up a team of 3 Digimon. You can pick between a few different selections, 3 of which I think were exclusive to this game at first. Bearmon, Kodamon, and Monmon. One of those will be in each team. You can pick your team and you'll start heading out into the digital world. In this game, although you have 3 Digimon at the start, you can only use one at a time. So this is where Pokemon starts coming in play. You have to switch out Digimon, etc. But what's different than Pokemon, of course, is that you can evolve one Digimon into, I think, up to like 6 or 7 different Digimon in Digimon World 3. You can also do DNA Digievolutions with other Digimon in your party. So there's a lot of possibilities there, and it is grindy. And I will also mention that in the very beginning of the game, it can be a little bit difficult, but once you grind, like most RPGs, you'll be just fine. The stats of your Digimon don't necessarily level up through levels, but every type of evolution you can get a certain amount of trainings which will boost your stats, and for the most part in Ultimate compared to a Rookie, your Ultimate stats are going to be much higher, so you can keep that in mind. And your Rookie always levels up and gets experience regardless of which evolution you're using, so that's also a really interesting mechanic. Overall, I think this game is really interesting. There's even a complete card game within this game, which is different than the card battle game and different than the physical card game, I believe. But it's just something that you can, again, invest some time in if you want. You can get packs and open them up. There's a lot of content here. I've heard that even the base story can take 40 to 100 hours depending on how much you get out of it, how much leveling up you do. So I would recommend this game actually to, of course, fans of Digimon, fans of people that might like the Pokemon style of games, and just fans of RPGs in general. This is a really good game. The visuals are amazing, probably my favorite aesthetic in any Digimon game. The music is solid, everything about it is interesting. One thing I do have to warn though is if you pick up a physical copy of this game and it is scratched even slightly, one of the first areas in the game, as well as maybe some of the other areas, can have an issue where the game just freezes and it's impossible to proceed through this area. And sometimes it may let you through, but it's very inconsistent. If you want to play this game, you might have to get a really nice condition copy or just play it by some other means. I'll let you figure out the rest. But I would highly recommend Digimon World 3. Digimon Battle Spirits was released on January 13th, 2003. This is the first handheld game ever released besides the Digivice. Digimon Battle Spirit is very similar to Digimon Rumble Arena, but it's pretty much just the mobile version. So expect the same kind of gameplay here, where you have your Digimon, which has a few abilities that you can use. You're going to attack the opponent. The opponent is going to drop little spheres that you need to pick up, and at the end of the battle, whoever has the most spheres wins and goes to the next round. There is a mechanic as well in this game where Kalumon is flying around the screen. If you are able to touch Kalumon, it will digivolve you into your mega form. And in this form, especially in this game, it makes you almost unbeatable. You can hit the enemy and many spheres come out, and it gives you an extreme advantage. And when Kalumon appears, it's random. So this type of mechanic is kind of strange for this type of game, but basically all you do is you jump up on different platforms and just attacking the other Digimon. Super simple, super basic. There are a few different characters in the first game that you can play as. You can play as Guilmon, Agumon, Terriermon, Renamon, Wormmon, Vmon, and Sukamon. Digimon Battle Spirits also has a few secret characters that you can unlock. Black Agumon, Lapmon, Gabumon, Extra Agumon, and Impmon. I enjoyed Digimon Rumble Arena, but Digimon Battle Spirits I don't think is really worth playing unless you're an extreme Digimon fan and collector like myself. It really just doesn't offer anything that Rumble Arena doesn't, besides specific Digimon that you may not be able to play, and also having it as a handheld game rather than a console game. The next game released after Digimon Battle Spirits was the follow-up, Digimon Battle Spirits 2. It It was released on September 24th, 2003. It was released in the same year, only separated by about 8 months. So Digimon Battle Spirit 2 is kind of just extra characters for Digimon Battle Spirit 1. This time they focused on the Digimon Frontier main characters, and the gameplay is pretty much the same, although the Digimon have a few more abilities under their belt, and that Kalumon mechanic that digivolves you to Mega is no longer present in this version. Overall, the core mechanics of the game are very, very similar to the original. The playable characters in the second game are as follows: Agunimon, Lobomon, Beetlemon, Kumamon, Kazemon. There are 3 secret characters in Digimon Battle Spirit 2. Lobomon, X-Agunimon, and X-Lobomon. The story mode is pretty straightforward, just like previous entry. You start off fighting the standard playable character Digimon in different stages, and once you defeat them all, you fight the final boss, which in this game is Kirpimon. Digimon Battle Spirit 2 also contains a mini game that can be unlocked after you beat the story mode with one character. The mini game is called Digimon Shoot, and in essence, it's just a simple marble game. You pick your Digimon that you want to represent your marble, and you are faced with a series of challenges with multiple other marbles on the field. You are able to aim your marble in a specific direction and give that marble power. So it's similar to the way a golfing game may work. You pick the direction and the strength. The rules of the marble game are that if you get removed from the table, you end up losing. So even though you go first in this marble game, if you give the marble too much force, you will go off the table and you will lose anyway, regardless of if you hit the enemy's marbles off of the table. Despite its simplistic rules and nature, this minigame is actually pretty difficult. I noticed that actually aiming the marble where you want to go is fairly difficult. If you hit the marble way too hard, you'll just end up losing. If you don't hit it hard enough, the opponents will end up knocking you off easily on the crackback. So I actually played this game quite a bit while capturing footage, and I was really not able to progress past the first few levels very often. I think that Digimon Shoot actually adds a pretty good amount of replayability for Digimon Battle Spirit, but of course if you're not into this type of minigame, you won't get any use out of it. I wanted to note too that I scoured the internet for gameplay footage of Digimon Shoot and I couldn't find anything. The only reason I even knew this existed is because if you look at the Wikipedia page, it mentions having a minigame for this game. This very well may be the first YouTube footage of Digimon Shoot. So again, recommendation, I would only recommend this to the biggest Digimon fans. Another thing about this, if you want to own the physical version, especially a complete copy, it is quite expensive, and I just don't think it's justified in the cost. The game is not really that great. Something of note that I wanted to mention is that originally these Digimon Battle Spirit games were released on the WonderSwan in Japan.
お前って見かけによらずずるいやつだな。君はいつも威張ってるくせに弱いね。
本気のバトルがついに始まる。
デジモンバトルスピリット。
学
WonderSwan!
And these are pretty much just ports of the WonderSwan games. And if you're a Digimon collector like myself and you want to track down these games, just track down the WonderSwan versions. Digimon Rumble Arena 2 was released on September 6th, 2004. This game, unlike a lot of the other Digimon sequels, is a straight sequel to Digimon Rumble Arena on the PlayStation 1. It still has its arena combat style, with lots of different characters to choose from. This game pretty much builds upon the original game in almost every way, making it the superior game by far. There's more characters, more evolutions, more items to work with, more maps, everything about it. Even for the main story part of the game, when you have the Rumble Arena, there's kind of a varying tournament style where you can choose who you want to fight next. And then at the very end, you get these boss fights, and depending on which tree of battles you choose, they may be harder or easier, and the hardest bosses kind of give you the best characters. There are 11 starting playable characters in Rumble Arena 2 and 8 secret characters. It has every character from the original Digimon Adventure anime that you would want to choose from as a starting character. It also has the main character from Digimon Adventure 2, Tamers, and even Frontier. And what's really interesting about the game is that a lot of the secret characters are villains, such as Duskmon, Malomyotismon, and even Diaboromon. So it's actually really fun to play with the villain characters, and they're very strong. There's really a lot of options, and so there is a bit of replayability since all the characters play different. And I will say, compared to the original Rumble Arena, there are a lot more moves and just different things that you can do in the game. I can tell that back in the day, people would have had a lot of fun with this game. I know I never originally played it in 2004 or a few years after, but playing it now I actually really enjoy it, especially compared to the first entry in the series. What's really interesting to me is that this is the fourth game in the series that follows this same arena-style combat, having both Battle Spirits game, the first arena game, and the second arena game. So I don't know why exactly that they were really trying to capitalize off the Smash Bros. Success and releasing 4 games that have a similar style. But I will say overall, if you enjoy these type of arena games and just like to see a lot of different Digimon characters fighting each other, definitely give this game a try. I would recommend this game to any Digimon fan, people who maybe like Smash Bros. Style games, and people who liked the PS2 era of video games. I think the game definitely looks better than the original, and the music is pretty interesting. They even got sound clips for all the Digimon that are pretty much straight from the anime, so you can look for the same voice actors there. But overall, pretty solid game and entry into the series.
Game Boy Advance.
デジモンレーシング開幕。デジモンたちがレースでバトルだ。進化必殺技、友達みんなでガンガン楽しめ。デジモンレーシング、行くぞアグモン。
Digimon Racing was released on September 13th, 2004 for the Game Boy Advance. Much like the name suggests, this is a Digimon-based kart racer, similar to Mario Kart and other franchise racing games. You have 8 playable Digimon and 3 secret Digimon that you can unlock: Agumon, Gabumon, Palmon, Patamon, Tentomon, Biomon, Salamon, Gomamon, and the 3 unlockable secret characters are Agunimon, Guilmon, and Vmon. Originally, I wasn't a big fan of Digimon Racing, but I recently went back and played it again, and I will say Digimon Racing doesn't do anything too new for the kart racing genre. However, the graphics are pretty good for the time. It uses Mode 7 graphics, the sprites are big and colorful. Each Digimon can ride over digital data and a bar will fill up, and once the bar is filled up, the Digimon in the cart will digivolve, which will make it stronger and able to use its special ability. When you use the special ability, you will de-digivolve back down into your rookie form. What makes Digimon Racing different than other kart racers is the jumping mechanic. Some kart racers have a jumping feature, however in this game you can use the jumping to find shortcuts, jump over obstacles, and even jump on top of your opponent's carts, which slows them down to a stop for a few seconds. When you complete a cup in Digimon Racing, you unlock time trial modes for the different tracks, as well as a boss battle. So the boss battle is pretty much a square or rectangular area where you drive your cart around, getting item power-ups, and then using it on the boss. And I think each boss has around 3 hits, so when you hit the boss 3 times successfully, you will beat the boss battle and proceed to the next level. It's also worth noting that this game did have the ability to use the Game Boy Advance wireless adapter or the Game Link cables to do multiplayer. You could definitely play this game with a lot of friends if you so desired back in the day or even now. And I just think it's interesting because obviously this is not a Nintendo first party racing game, but it still has support for the wireless adapter. Overall, this game is pretty fun. It doesn't stand out too much, but I think that it's pretty unique because it's the only Digimon racing game that exists in North America. I would really only recommend this game to people who really enjoy kart racers, especially ones that aren't Mario Kart, and people that enjoy Digimon themed games. Digimon World 4 was released on June 1st, 2005, and it released for the PlayStation 2, the Nintendo GameCube, and the Microsoft Xbox. Just like the first 3 entries in the series, number 4 was also substantially different than the other 3 games. Digimon World 4 is an action RPG, but it has very clunky controls and combat. The game is segmented into multiple worlds that you can take your Digimon partner to explore, and each level has different enemy Digimon within it. Each overarching world has multiple levels that you need to complete in order to proceed into the next world. And every world ends with a specific boss fight that you must defeat. And every overarching world has an extra powerful boss that is at the end of it. One thing of note with this game is that your Digimon partner uses weapons. Some have guns, some have swords, and for me, that just makes it feel really out of place. There are very few times when Digimon use weapons, especially ones that don't normally have them. For example, Agumon, Guilmon, and many of the starters of the anime series. I've heard a lot of people have nostalgia specifically for Digimon World 4, so I was excited to give it a shot. But when I started playing it, I had a really hard time playing and getting into it due to its bad controls, and it made the game unnecessarily difficult. The visuals of Digimon World 4 are a little bit better than the previous entries, at least for 3D models. One saving grace of Digimon World 4, it is up to 4 players, so you can play with 3 different friends, use all the main Digimon, and it makes the game quite a bit easier. So if you do find that the game is a challenge and you are able to actually get 3 friends to play with you, definitely do so. You'll have a lot of fun. But overall, I wouldn't really consider this a super big positive of the game because it would be very difficult for most people to get 4 different PS2 controllers, 3 friends to play with them. And if you're playing by other means, I'm not even sure if there's a way to be able to do this. So just keep that in mind. But I think it's definitely worth mentioning. In this game, another cool thing that adds a bit to replayability is certain enemies that you fight will drop card packs, so you can farm them over and over again, and eventually they drop some packs. Go to a menu and you can open up the packs, as well as you can look at the catalog of all the different cards and try to collect them all. I always like little collectibles in games, so this to me is another positive. Overall, I think this is kind of a medium entry into the Digimon video game series. Definitely has some positives. It's a lot of fun if you can play with friends. There's some replayability there, but overall, controls are not great. The game is extremely difficult if you don't know what you're doing. It's just not the best action RPG out there. There's lots of other alternatives that would be a lot more worth your time. It's just a generic action RPG with a Digimon skin on it. The weapons are so out of place, it just seems really, really funny. But if you like Digimon games or you like action RPGs, you can definitely check this one out. Bandai was trying to figure out what exactly to do with the Digimon video game franchise. Although Digimon World was the flagship series, it didn't have a real sense of identity since all the entries were different. Bandai tried a lot of different types of games to see what fit the Digimon property and what resonated with the fans. The year was 2006. The Digimon Data Squad anime series, or Digimon Savers, had just started airing on Jetix. This era was a reinvention for the Digimon franchise. The original generation of Digimon fans were getting older and moving on to other things. Bandai was looking to reinvigorate the franchise as well as captivate new fans. On November 7th, 2006, not 1 month after the anime started airing, Digimon World DS was released for the Nintendo DS in North America. The DS in Digimon World DS actually stands for Digimon Story and not Dual Screen. This is the first entry into a long-running RPG Digimon series, although this wasn't really clear in North America for many years due to the West getting a modified version of the Digimon game names. This game is not an anime tie-in game, but it did feature the main Digimon of Data Squad on the game cover. This marks the 5th entry into the Digimon World series. Although different from its predecessors, it takes a lot of inspiration from Digimon World 2 and Digimon World 3. Digimon World DS is a turn-based RPG where you fight Digimon in a 3-monster squad with 3 in reserves, and you can fight enemy Digimon and collect their data. Once you collect enough data, you can generate your own version of that wild Digimon. This is essentially the capture or catching mechanism in the Digimon Story games. There can be a total of 5 enemy Digimon on the screen at once, and monster abilities may target specific patterns of area to attack opponents. The 3 starter Digimon in this game are Tanemon, Sunomon, and Koromon. This is the first Digimon game that utilizes a Digifarm, which allows you to raise Digimon outside of your main battle party. The game features gorgeous pixel art with bright and vibrant colors that really set the atmosphere for this digital adventure. Digimon World DS features over 400 different Digimon, which is more than any other Digimon game released in North America. The game got above average reviews, but ultimately was overshadowed by other games of the time, such as Metroid Prime Hunters, Pokemon Ranger, and Castlevania Portrait of Ruin. Despite all of this, Digimon World DS represents a point in time where Bandai started to finally understand what type of video games Digimon fans in the West enjoyed. Now, the powers that be at Bandai decided to put significant resources, aka lots and lots of money, into Digimon video games. On September 18th, 2007, 3 Digimon games were released. Digimon World Dusk and Dawn, which were named Digimon Story Sunburst and Digimon Story Moonlight in Japan.
There are 2 sides to every story. A mysterious enemy has unleashed a dangerous virus. Was it from the elite Nightclaw team, or did the powerful Lightfang team do it? Find, tame, train, and battle with over 400 Digimon. Battle up to 5 powerful enemies at once. And play with your friends wirelessly or through Nintendo Wi-Fi connection to battle, create rare Digimon, and collect rare items. Become a true Digimon master this fall with Digimon World Dawn and Digimon World Dusk for the Nintendo DS.
They serve as the sequel to the first Digimon Story game, although no story is carried over from the first game. Gameplay and visual style are extremely similar to Digimon World DS, with some gameplay tweaks and brand new Digimon to tame. DNA Digievolution was also added since the last game, and leveling up Digimon is much grindier. Newly digivolved monsters will start back at level 1 and need to be leveled up all over again. Similar to Pokemon and other RPG/action games of the time, there are 2 versions of this game. Each game has a parallel storyline which intertwines with one uniform main story. The story of the game is that there is a virus that causes an earthquake that forces some Digimon to turn back into Digi-Eggs. And no, I'm not making that up. That's the actual story of this game. Throughout the game, the protagonist must complete quests to repair parts of the city and identify who's the big evil trying to destroy the digital world. Dusk and Dawn each have different starter Digimon, which were created specifically for these games. Lunamon is the starter for Dusk, and Coronamon is the starter for Dawn. Dawn is generally positioned as a game with the quote-unquote good Digimon, such as Rise Greymon, Growlmon, Angelomon, and Repamon, while Dusk shows off the darker Digimon, such as Clockmon, Skullgreymon, Klorisarimon, and Wergarurumon Black. Both Dusk and Dawn feature Digimon Data Squad characters on the cover to give the anime fans something familiar when they see this game out in the wild that makes them want to pick it up and give it a shot. I love the cover art for both games so much. I think Lunamon and Coronamon have some of the most well-designed rookies, as well as the entire evolution line in the modern era of Digimon. The sprite work in these 3DS games still leaves me in awe to this day. The Digimon character models are very detailed, and the environments in the game are beautiful and give a sense of being in the digital world. These games are both fantastic entries into the gaming franchise and a great place to start for new players. I would recommend these games to any fan of turn-based RPGs, and especially fans of monster collecting games such as Pokemon. I would also encourage fans of pixel art to check out this game and see what the Nintendo DS was capable of. Digimon World Data Squad was released alongside the 2 DS games on September 18, 2007.
A new Digimon Tamer with powerful friends. Battle dangerous Digimon. Tame over 140 Digimon. Evolve your Digimon. Control mighty abilities. Fight strong enemies. You are a Digimon Tamer. Bring harmony back to the world. Become a true Digimon master this fall with Digimon World Data Squad. Only for the PlayStation 2 computer entertainment system.
The PS2 release was another RPG, but it has a twist that sets it apart from the DS entries. The game functions as a side mission to the Data Squad anime, so if you want to fully understand the interactions between the characters and their individual personalities, you'll need to watch that season of Digimon. Seriously, all I know about Digimon Data Squad is that Marcus, the main character, loves to punch stuff. No, seriously, like he punches everything, and that's like his entire personality. Each time a Digimon is ready to attack, the screen will fill up with various techniques that your Digimon can use. The choices are based on how you treat your Digimon, and depending on what moves you pick, that decision will either make your partner happy or sad. The move screen is a bit cluttered to say the least, and I do feel like this detracts from the overall experience. I frankly don't know what the designers were thinking. I mean, look at that. The entire screen is taken up by potential moves. I mean, I get what they were going for, but I feel like the implementation is a little off. What I think the game does really well is use niche Digimon that are very uncommon in Digimon media and gives them a chance to really shine. Visually, the game has a cel-shaded style that was extremely popular at the time of this game release. I think it actually stands out well from all the other Digimon games because of this fact, and the shading of the graphics hold up surprisingly well. I would recommend this game to RPG fans looking for something a little different, but primarily to fans of Digimon Data Squad, because being familiar with the source material is the best thing that this game has going for it. If you are a fan of cel shading and like more obscure, less utilized Digimon, you definitely need to check this game out. It's not just a phase, Dad. Look at these straps. I love them so much. I'm not really sure what got into the localization team of Digimon games for North America, but on August 26, 2008, Digimon World Championship was released on the Nintendo DS. 4 Digimon games were released within 1 year, and they all had Digimon World in their titles. Championship departs from the DS RPGs and is most closely related to the original Digimon World and Virtual Pets.
Digimon World Championship. Experience a Digimon revolution. Hunt and capture wild Digimon. Train over 200 Digimon for battle. Fight against your friends over DS wireless communication or Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. Become the new Digimon World Champion. Digimon World Championship is coming this summer only for the Nintendo DS.
You play the game by sorting through menus, which allow you to take care of your Digimon, hunt Digimon, and fight other Digimon. Maintaining your Digimon's health is very important to keeping them alive and also improving their stats. You need to make sure that you clean up after your Digimon's accidents, take them to the infirmary when they need to recover, and train them with different types of activities to round out their stats. There are many types of items that you'll need to give your Digimon as they grow. Food when they get hungry, protein for increasing their attack, basically steroids, medicine when they get sick, and bandages for when they get hurt. There are various environments that you unlock that allow you to try and tame Digimon, and each area has various Digimon to collect. You catch a Digimon using items that can distract and trick the Digimon that you're after, and then use the stylus to capture them. There's an item called the normal wire, which you can place like a fence to trap Digimon in a specific location. Another item you can use is Shot, which temporarily stuns Digimon for easier capture. I don't really know what they were thinking if this was a localization thing, but please don't shoot Digimon, they're not gonna hurt you. This has been a Digimon service announcement. The stylus represents a rope that you can control, and the rope is basically for capturing the Digimon. You want to circle the Digimon on the screen with the stylus, and then press down on the Digimon's location and drag across the screen. A bar will show up which decreases as you pull the Digimon and may decrease in varying amounts depending on which direction you pull the Digimon. Once the bar is empty, the Digimon will become stunned, and you can select on your hand icon and then grab the Digimon. There are also traps for catching Digimon at night and food for distracting enemy Digimon. Hunting starts out pretty easy in the beginning of the game when you're just going after in trainings and starters, but can get very challenging later on. Once you have some baby Digimon, you need to train them. After training Digimon to your liking, you can then bring them to the battle arena to get money, which you need to upgrade your Digimon training facility. Combat is simplistic. You choose your team of Digimon, and then they fight the opponent Digimon similar to an auto battler. Digimon can use different battle strategies, but other than that, you can't really command them. Like a lot of simulation games, you need strong Digimon to get money, and you need money to get stronger Digimon, so the game can be really grindy at times. There's also a store where you can buy training goods, hunting items, and cages, which are basically items that allow you to train and take care of your Digimon. And this is what allows you to raise different types of stats for your Digimon. The pixel art for this game is bright, and there's a lot of attention to detail on the sprite work, but I do feel like it's lacking a little bit, especially when compared to the DS RPGs, but I think that's because many of the sprites in this game are smaller in size. The music doesn't really stand out too much, and it feels suiting for the music of the digital world. The tracks are mellow and relaxing, which I think fits perfectly for a simulation game. Overall, this game stands out from the rest of the Digimon games as far as something unique, and I do think it's worth checking out, especially if you enjoy Digimon Virtual Pets. I would recommend this game for fans of other simulation games and the original Digimon World game. After 4 Digimon games in 1 year, the end of the Digimon craze was waning, at least in North America. There was a lack of video games for 6 years, despite Digimon Fusion airing from 2010 to 2012. On November 14th, 2014, Digimon All-Star Rumble was released for the Xbox 360 and PS3. This was the first Digimon game to be released with no Digimon anime airing at the time. All-Star Rumble can best be described as a brawler or a 3D fighting game. Combat is very similar to Digimon Rumble Arena with those ridiculous hitboxes. You can play the game with up to 4 players, either controlled by the computer or your friends with couch co-op. The game features 2 main types of gameplay, an overworld beat-em-up style fighting game similar to something like Digimon World 4, and an arena battler similar to Digimon Rumble Arena. There are a total of 12 playable characters: Agumon, Gabumon, Biyomon, Tentomon, Gomamon, Gatomon, Vmon, Wormmon, Guilmon, Impmon, Shoutmon, and Dorulumon. Each Digimon has a variety of attacks, and each stage has an interactive environment and items which can be used to hinder your opponents, like stunning them or even turning them into Numamon. Each Digimon can also digivolve and turn into a super form to do massive damage and decimate your enemies. Each evolution matches the starter Digimon, such as Wargreymon for Agumon, Angewomon for Gatomon, and Stingmon for Wormmon. Some super forms found in the game are Examon, Omnimon, Shoutmon, and Gallantmon. Outside the battle mode, which is the classic Rumble Arena style versus mode, there's also a story mode. And in the story mode, it's not just doing the battle mode against the CPU. For the story, you traverse multiple 3D levels where you meet hordes of Digimon, collect money, cards, and items. At the end of each area, you have a one-on-one match against a Digimon using the battle arena style. There are 8 chapters, and when you complete them, you beat the story mode and unlock the super form for that Digimon. You can also collect cards from the levels or buy them from the collection menu of the game. These cards are collectible, but you can also equip them to your Digimon for effects such as healing, damage reduction, and even mana reduction of your opponents. I think this element actually adds a little bit more complexity, and it's a little bit more unique for a Digimon game. And I also just really like collecting cards in video games, which you guys know, but I think it's cool that this one actually has added gameplay elements. I think that despite being similar to Digimon Rumble Arena 2, which came out 10 years previously, this game does have a lot more to offer, and players can have more fun with the new features. I'd recommend this to fans of Digimon Rumble Arena and other simplistic multiplayer brawlers, and I would also recommend it to fans of Digimon Fusion and video game collectibles. On March 12, 2015, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth was released in North America. As the name suggests, it's another entry into the Digimon Story franchise, although North America missed the last 2 entries, Lost Evolution and Supercross Wars. Like Dusk and Dawn, Cyber Sleuth is a turn-based RPG where you control a team of Digimon. There are 6 different starter Digimon you can choose from: Palmon, Terriermon, Hagurumon, Betamon, Tentamon, and Gotsumon. Where Cyber Sleuth really stands out among the Digimon games is its story. You play as a Japanese student who is able to capture Digimon using software given to them by a hacker, team up with the detective Koyoko Karimi, and help her solve crimes in the digital world, which is where the name comes from, Cyber Sleuth. There are really interesting characters in this game with big personalities and well-designed visuals. Let's just take a moment and appreciate the concept art for this video game. The story really stands out and feels like it could be adapted into an anime series, and the gameplay elements are just the supporting experience. Along with that, expect some anime tropes with the characters and the jokes. I don't want to go into too much detail about the story for people who haven't played the game, but it's quite entertaining and involves many cyber hackers and evil digital monsters. Gameplay is very similar to earlier Digimon Story games, with the removal of attack patterns for either attacking one singular Digimon or an entire row of enemies. This game features a slew of side quests to complete, and they can be quite tedious, but there's also over 1,000 medals to collect, each with a unique Digimon on them. I really felt like a kid again collecting these medals from vending machines that are scattered throughout the game, with hopes of getting a rare Digimon, and I do feel like this is a really fun nod to the OG Digimon fans who grew up with the card game. The music in this game feels futuristic and cyberpunk inspired, which complements the atmosphere perfectly. The character models for this game do look a bit outdated. I think that this game could have been improved by making it pixel art instead of the 3D graphics. There's something about the polygons that just don't look fantastic. Digimon Cyber Sleuth is the full package. I would recommend this game to any fan of RPGs, people who want to try something a little bit different with a cool story, as well as Digimon fans. Like the Digimon World Dusk and Dawn games, I would consider this a great first Digimon game to try out. On January 31st, Digimon World Next Order was released.
The power of Omega is overwhelming.
It's under the influence of the brain hack program.
He's my new partner. Name's Noir, or Omegamon's work deed. getting stronger. Are you ready? Give this all you've got.
The digital world is facing a threat we've never seen before.
We need to act. We finally have a chance to do something about this. It's in your hands.
Nice and calm.
Full power!
Good hit.
I can feel the power. The bond is transforming.
This is it.
How can this be?
It was 17 years after the original Digimon World game came out. Next order, in terms of gameplay, it's the closest to the original Digimon World game that North America ever got. Unlike other games where you get to select the Digimon you have for the entirety of your adventures, you must choose 2 of 10 different Digi-Eggs and raise your Digimon to be as strong as you can. You must traverse the city of Floatia, collecting items, completing quests, and saving the digital world from the evil Machine Draymon. Bringing Digimon back to the city unlocks new areas, activities, and shops that will make your next Digimon have an easier time and hopefully a more enjoyable time. This builds upon the original Digimon World game and improves many of the complaints that players had. Similarly to the original, the game is a grind and can be extremely challenging, especially early in the game and the end of the game. Once your Digimon dies, you'll get a new egg and start over with a new monster. But don't worry, because as the game progresses, your Digimon will get stronger. You'll pretty much always have a little bit of an easier time than your last try. Now, this game is not for everyone. I would really only recommend this game for huge Digimon fans, as well as people who really enjoyed the original Digimon World game, or maybe other pet raising games. If you liked the idea of Digimon World but thought it was outdated and needed to be improved upon, I would highly recommend checking Next Order out. It was less than a year before North America got another Digimon game release. On January 19th, 2018, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory was released. Let's start off by clearing up the confusion about the game's title. Hacker's Memory is basically the same core game as Cyber Sleuth, but with some quality of life changes, a new battle type, and a completely unique story. Both Cyber Sleuth titles take place during the same timeline, but each game takes place in parallel. The main cast from Cyber Sleuth appear in Hacker's Memory, but it's more like a cameo appearance, and the second game has its own set of unique and interesting characters. Just like Cyber Sleuth, Hacker's Memory is a turn-based RPG where you battle with a team of 3. But it also introduces an additional game mode for some quests, which is a strategy RPG mechanism where you move on a grid and you have to fight specific tamers and Digimon depending on your choices. In the beginning of the game, you can choose between either Gatsumon, Betamon, or Tentamon as your starter. The goal of the game is to tame all the Digimon, or at least go out and destroy evil hackers and digital anomalies trying to ruin the digital and the real world. Just like Cyber Sleuth, the story is a strong point of the game. I don't want to spoil too much about it. I do feel like Hacker's Memory is worth playing if you played the first game. The new story is much more developed, and the characters I think are even more enjoyable. So if you had to choose between the two, I would still recommend checking out Hacker's Memory first. There are also 92 more Digimon to tame compared to the first game, which adds greatly to the replayability of Hacker's Memory. There are so many Digimon to try to collect. The game characters are recycled from Cyber Sleuth, so the character models leave more to be desired, but I think all the Digimon look great in 3D. It's a shame because the concept artwork for this game is gorgeous, and the sprites from the earlier Digimon story games were so bold and unique, and I think that's just kind of hard to capture with the polygons. The soundtrack was composed by Masafumi Takado, who did arrangements for a few different Super Smash Bros. Games and the Danganronpa series. I think he did an amazing job creating a soundtrack for a digital world which is eerie and mysterious, but also upbeat. I think it might be my favorite Digimon game soundtrack. Be aware that there will be a bit of fan service, especially in Hacker's Memory, but it shouldn't really detract too much from your video game experience. Now, two fun side notes about the game. Hacker's Memory allowed you to change the protagonist's outfit to suit your style, which I think was a really cool addition over Cyber Sleuth. There was a lot of different t-shirts that you could swap out depending on your mood. And then the next fact that I like to talk about, the Digimon Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory marketing team decided to advertise that in this game, your Digimon would be able to wear hats. I've always enjoyed when in Digimon anime that rookie Digimon decide to wear hats. I think they look hilarious and it's very charming. So when I heard that you could wear hats in this game, I got super excited. The problem with the feature is that it's not very straightforward how you unlock them. They needed to actually be obtained through online play, and it just wasn't really explained in the game at all. So I missed out on it during my first playthrough. I mean, look at these screenshots. How fun are these hats? Doesn't it make every Digimon look so much cooler and more fun? So much more could have been done with these Digimon hats, but I digress. I would recommend this game to fans of RPGs and monster collecting games, as well as any Digimon fan. A fantastic entry point into the Digimon game franchise. 2014 to 2018 represented a renaissance of Digimon video games, and many fans of the franchise were very excited to get another Digimon game after the release of Hacker's Memory. Not long after the release, Bandai Namco announced a new Digimon game, but due to development issues and COVID-19, the game didn't end up being released until 2022. So on July 29th, 2022, Digimon Survive was released.
よしみんなそろそろ出発の時間だ遊びに来たんじゃないんだぞ時間厳守で行動すること
それより見てこの桜綺麗ね
いやー春って感じだよね
私はさっきそれでこっちの態度悪いのが亮たくましっかりして
何がリーダーとしてだなもんただ臆病風吹かせてるだけじゃねえかうるせえいった殴ることないじゃないかあなたが仲間を助けたい
って思ったのは本心じゃないの
どうやらお前には我らが主に仕える自覚が足りないようだな
私はこの地域に伝わる獣神信仰を研究しているものだ
この神聖なる山は獣神様を祀った社のある獣聖域
Survive was another departure from the previous games in the series in terms of tone and gameplay. Digimon Survive is best described as a visual novel with strategy RPG combat elements. The core game is decision-based dialogue in which your actions impact the story of the game. You also have a camera which allows you to see the environment as it really is. This can reveal items to help you or surprise enemy Digimon. This entry into the series isn't the fun-loving adventure Digimon story you remember, but a darker, grittier environment which will make you think and feel things. I'm not crying, are you? When you enter combat in the game, you use Digimon partners and move throughout a grid environment where you must be careful about your placement and attack range. Side attacks can be used for more damage, and back attacks allow you to get critical hits on your enemies. Each Digimon has a normal attack and a special attack which reflects that Digimon's abilities. You can also choose to converse with wild Digimon, and if you answer their questions correctly, you have a chance to add them to your party, or at least get some items from the Digimon. The game follows a group of kids who find themselves in a mysterious world filled with Digimon and the dark unknown. Most of the main characters have a specific Digimon partner which you use throughout the different battles, and their evolution lines are unlocked through game progress. One thing I really like about the game is that partner Digimon are not just the popular starter Digimon such as Vmon, Guilmon, but they're Floramon, Falcomon, Labramon, and Dracmon. And most of them have very uncommon evolution lines as well. Digimon Survive looks similar in style to other visual novels, with anime character portraits and stationary backgrounds. The Digimon character models in battle look vibrant and offer a good contrast to the novel gameplay. I think that this game is very underrated, especially for the story. I think it might be one of the most real and touching Digimon stories yet to be told. I would recommend this game for fans of visual novels and Digimon. I would also recommend this to strategy RPG fans looking for a game with a great story and something a little bit different. And that's where this story ends for now. I hope you enjoyed the second part of the Digimon video game history.